Grip, Power Right, Laser Motion Trips, Can, Jet, Church, Blue 20, Can.
Can what, Kevin?
But he just can't. He just can't. I can't with this helmet on. It's too small for my head. Oh, hey, it's a fantasy foot. This isn't Monday Night Football.
No. I'm not Eli. You're no Peyton's.
I thought you said we were doing the Monday Night Football gig.
Well, no, they gave it to two other guys.
Do you think people would tune in if just you and I were watching Monday Night Football and talking over it, like no announcers or anything?
I could think of maybe 8 to 10 people that might.
8 to 10 guys might tune in to watch.
All right, yeah. Well, Hillbilly Harrison's finest.
Well, hey, welcome to the podcast. I don't know how long we'll do this for, but this is week 2. And
depends on the ratings.
Depends on the ratings. This week is brought to you by a Total Tan, the home of $2 tans. And contact our buddy Rennie if you're looking to get orange. So, do you know anybody else? Do you have any other friends who, when you turn on the radio, there's a radio ad that's targeted at bringing down their industry?
No. Well,
like Rennie's the only person I know that's in a
I used to know somebody. I wasn't friends with him, but I knew somebody in that check cashing, business. And they weren't liked very much.
Commercials to like avoid that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Some like get help things. All right.
Yeah.
Dave, we had quite the week. I mean, just the football games. Take the fantasy out of it. We had some great football games. Man, that Monday night game was crazy. The Bengals game was crazy. The Thursday night game with Tampa Bay game was crazy. So we had some really good games. There's some things I noticed, but we'll kind of jump into that. What are the biggest surprises you had coming out of week 1?
Well, start with fantasy. Our league.
Yeah.
Ed.
Yeah.
High points. First place. And he's probably on a plane somewhere and doesn't even know it.
Oh, how does he put together a juggernaut of a team like that?
He almost like he knew what he was doing.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna dig in here to Ed's team, but
yeah,
It starts with Brady, Father Time, right? Like that guy. He had a great game, but who really went off for him other than Brady? I mean, everybody scored well, right? Cooper did well.
Yeah, he had lots of good receivers. That's for certain. I was trying to look at it here on my phone, but that's kind of taking me a little bit, so I'm not looking straight ahead. But yeah, he just had plenty of guys that did well. I mean,
yeah.
When you got 2 receivers that both score 20 something and your quarterback scores 30 something, that's a lot of points. Yeah. That's gonna get you a lot of places. And then who else has he got? Chubb. And the Steelers D did well. I mean, but then I think he had some duds, but when you have a lot of high points, totally makes up for a couple duds. See, when you and I have duds, we don't have the other guys to make up for them. Big difference.
Bad. So Brian's got 2 guys on his team. One scores nothing and one scores negative. And Brian was in it for high points and pulls off a big win against who was going up against. Was he against Travis?
Yeah, and I think maybe this might sway Travis's. Instead of focusing on flex, he might focus on the instant replay because how long has replay been going on? However long it's been going on. That season before, that would have been a touchdown. It was called a touchdown.
Yeah.
His knee was down. Kupp's knee was down before he scored, but it was close. Only a camera could have caught that. No human umpire could have caught that. But now in today's world, that ain't no touchdown. Sorry, 6 points off the board. He lost by 0.6. That's our point something.
Yeah.
Less than a yard or whatever it is. But yeah.
We got Ed, who wins in walk-off fashion, like that, he just killed it. Brian won a nail biter, but still 126 points with two guys that scored nothing. So his team definitely did well. I mean, Kyler Murray, you know that. So, and but so here's something I noticed when I was just looking back through. Travis probably had the best running back play. Running back scores were down this week. Do you agree? I mean, if you just looked across the board, there were a lot of low-scoring running backs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You had one of them, I think.
I had two of them. Well, one for sure, but
yeah, I had one.
Well, I mean, I was upset obviously about my running back scores, but then when I look back through, I mean, you had guys that were scoring low. I mean, it just seemed like that other than a handful of guys, there was only like a couple guys who had both the running backs being double digits points.
Yeah, and that, like I said last week, big advantage right there. That's a lot of points that you can make or solidify your place in your scoring that with two good running backs.
Yeah. So, but we got, I mean, Danny's 1-0.
Wait a minute. Is that right?
Yeah. And then according to the message board, he's ready to go all in this season.
Yeah. He watched a podcast, I think, on waiver wires.
Yeah.
Adam helped him out a little bit, let him know when, how many years. He doesn't know that Thursday mornings, but now he knows Thursday mornings is when it all happens. I guess I just, maybe all these years he just waits till Saturday and then everybody's always available. Maybe he thought everybody was always available, but he didn't know.
So I got no sympathy for Josh and you and Kenny and myself. Like we didn't show up to play week 1. That was just bad football, right? That's bad fantasy.
Yours was bad football. Mine was bad decisions.
Okay. Yeah. Like it didn't matter. There was nobody. Well, there was one person I could have put, but it wouldn't have made a difference. Jameis was not saving my team.
Yeah.
But if you're Lee or you're Travis, you got to be pretty bummed that you scored over 100 points and came up empty.
Yeah, I don't know what do you think's worse? Is it worse to score 120 something and barely lose, or to score 100 and get blown out?
I would take. I think they're both. I thought you were going to ask if it's worse to be me, score 67 points, or to be Travis and score 25 points and lose.
Psychologically,
I'd rather be Travis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather have
good about.
Because then if you win a nail biter and you're not an 80-point win, you're still high up in the standings. Yeah,
and you got to figure that most weeks, if you can put that kind of points up, you're going to win. No weeks, if you put up 67, are you going to win?
Not very many. No.
Not,
especially not this year with Ed and Danny filling out complete lineups, and then you.
Yeah.
Can we go to that elephant in the room? Hey, you had all week. How'd you not see that? What were you doing? Were you preaching or something?
That OBJ wasn't going to play?
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't ruled out until like 3 p.m.
I guess that's true, but he was ruled out before the game started.
Ruled out, but when I had checked it when I left church, everybody was still projected with points. You know what I mean?
I see. It's God's fault. Okay, I see how you're going with it.
No, God and OBJ are not on speaking terms, I don't think. So
you're not going to play him this week?
Well, if I drop 15 guys, are there 15 guys to pick up on the waivers?
There are, yeah. I was just seeing if you were paying attention whether you were going to start him this week or not.
Well, we'll see.
Have you looked at your team?
I've looked at my team. Let me.
I'll give you a hint. He's already been ruled out.
Okay. Well, he wasn't this morning.
Okay. Well, sometime today he was.
So do you have like I should probably turn notifications on or something like that. Is that what you're telling me?
I just went and looked at your page. That's what Actually, I think it was on ESPN or something. But yeah, that was a freebie. That's the one freebie you get. I think you would have saw by Sunday. Adams probably gonna claim collusion or something, but I think it was pretty. You would have saw that.
Well, he's not worried about me and my 67 points. He's probably
no.
There's probably like a hotline I can call to like get some free help. So
Speaking of Adam, though, he scored 120.
Yeah,
just like he rolled out of bed and scored 120. It happens. He didn't need it. He won by 40, I think, but you take it. Of course, he was right about Stafford. We had all that talking about Stafford. At least week 1. I never was down on Stafford. I don't know why. I like the guy. All I pointed out was that it just seemed like Adam wanted him, and I can see why now, because he's on a good team with good receivers that make crazy catches in the end zone. That Woods catch was something else. That was an extra 6 points for him.
So there's some teams that lost this weekend. From a football standpoint, take fantasy out of it, you worried about Green Bay or Baltimore, any of those teams?
I'm just waiting for the relax, from Aaron Rodgers. I think they just ran into a angry a New Orleans team that was just, and once they were down, they all quit, and they took him out at the end. And I think they'll be back fine. They played Detroit. Detroit scored a bunch of points, but I don't think that they're that good. And I think Green Bay at home with a crowd, I think they're going to score a lot, and it'll make up for it. Baltimore, I mean they have they just keep losing guys, and then they keep picking up old guys to be running backs, and so now you got, I don't know, and then Lamar's trying to be Superman, and he fumbled twice, but they'll score points. I'm not, I kind of hope that they stay down just for the Bengals' sake, but how sweet would it have been for Buffalo to beat the Steelers, and we would have been, sole first place.
That game's got to be disappointing if you're a Bills fan. You got to beat Pittsburgh. It was such a low scoring game for a while too.
Winning.
That just, I don't know how you let that happen.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
And to round it out, Brennan got a gift win with 87 points. So.
Yeah, my faith in Houston being bad, even though I knew Jacksonville wasn't a good team and they didn't have a good defense, I just thought the whole Deshaun Watson thing was gonna, they were gonna come in flat and not do good, and Jacksonville would, get a couple picks, and it totally backfired. They got -5 for me, not good at all. And then I kind of flipped receivers at some point from Thursday to Sunday, and if I would have played Williams like I had him in, and then I would have been one of those, ifs and buts, candy and nuts, that kind of thing, But I had the guys right there. I could have won. But not everybody can say that. I don't think you could say that. I did the math on juniors and posted it. His optimal lineup would have came, far from what Rennie scored. That's, I don't know. Maybe that's the worst when. For me, it's worse when I know I had the players, and it's one thing if you never had any intention of playing them, it's like some backup guy comes in, but if it's a guy that you really thought you were going to play and you chose not to, that sucks. But then it's even worse probably to not even have the guys on your team. You might have been able to play all 15 of your spots and not win. It's possible. Maybe not.
Dave. Deshaun, that's promising.
What's that?
Or
you cut out for
whatever his name is. Winston, that's promising.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I said Jameis. Jameis is promising. So he got promoted.
Watch. He'll throw it. And that's where I went with one of their receivers, thinking that the guy that did great during the preseason, but he threw it to like 5 other people instead of my guy. First pass went to my guy, and I thought, this is going to be great day, and then he didn't get another one.
Well, just pay attention, because if Jameis has a really bad rest of the season, it's going to be my fault. So, because I started him. So. it could go downhill really quickly. So, all right, so let's jump into a new topic. We won't stay on here all night. We were talking about Danny. Danny's obviously planning on making some moves. Who's out there? By the time people watch this on Thursday, all those waiver pickups will already be done. They'll already be processed. Danny, if you're paying attention, Thursday morning those happen. There are some guys. Adam would be one of them, right? That he's going to jump on and he's going to save his waiver spot because he's sitting at number 1 right now. He'll save it.
So usually 1, 2, 3, they don't, they're afraid to use it, for most.
Yeah. But what time is it? Like 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning? He'll set his alarm and he'll go pick up anybody that didn't get claimed on waivers that he wants.
Exactly.
Yeah. So who are some teams that you think might be looking to fill some holes?
Well, anybody that didn't score very much. I don't know. I mean, I don't, like, for my team, I lost and I could have scored more, but I'm
You're
not
happy
really
with the
dying to pick. I hate overreacting week 1. Danny, a couple guys went on IR, I think, like Mostert, but Danny has 2 guys that he can plug in there. He already had another running back, so he's not desperate for running back, but he'll drop them. I think Gallup is out. So whoever had him will be looking to replace a wide receiver. But, week 1, Mostert was probably the biggest injury, I assume. And that people were, and maybe, anybody that had those fringe guys, you'll flip flop, and there'll be plenty of defenses and kickers.
Well, I was going to say that, 3 of the positions, like if you didn't get a top 5 tight end, you may not be happy with your tight end, so you may be shopping for one that you're just going to rotate guys the whole season. Defense and kickers, there's going to be guys chasing points, trying to figure out is there a better matchup or is there a better defense based on what happened in week 1. You talked a little bit about in the write-up, a lot of guys, a bunch of wide receivers are out there that probably did better than got at least week 1 than guys who were in starting lineups.
It's
sure
one of those
back
stat things that it just shows you there. But for every one of those guys that did that good, the ones that ESPN or Yahoo, whoever says are going to do good, they're not always those guys, And then there's always the stats where the guy, has a great week 1 and then he never catches a pass the rest of the season and that kind of stuff. So, you hate to you chase those kind of things and you worry about, overreacting, but then you hold on to some guys too long and you keep them and you could have picked up one of these guys. So it's one of those things you just makes you mad.
Yeah. So, and I was just looking through here. You were talking about Brian. The only reason Brian probably didn't win high points is, like we said, because he had those 2 guys that didn't score anything because his quarterback and his wide receiver both topped the highest scores for their positions. So
although he would have still had to find almost 20 points to beat Ed.
Yeah. But that's only 10 points per position. So
yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
Ed,
yeah, but
so
10 points is hard to find sometimes.
10 points is like half. Yes. Okay, so if we go to the matchups that we got this week, Dave, we've got you and I going up against each other. That's the nobody wants to go 0-2.
No, we do not want to go 0-2. ESPN seems to think that I'm favored, but I've been favored more than I've not been favored, I think, throughout my history of fantasy football, and I don't always win.
Well, ESPN really likes you. That could, we'll see if we can bring in a prop real quick.
I don't know if anybody else pays attention to this, their final standing projection, but take a look at this.
I know the Junior does.
Remember I lost?
The Junior does. So
reminder that I lost, and yet up here in this top corner here it says Rat Trappers. up 4 spots in the projection. So I was at 7 based on my draft for some reason.
You were
Now
7
they think
based
that
on
I'm going to get 3rd place because I had such a great week 1. And Travis, I could
Yeah.
see his. He jumped 7 spots. They think he's doing good, but he scored a lot of points, and so that makes sense. Rennie scored a lot of points, so he upped his. But mine, and I don't get it. I don't know how they work this. So let's see, Ed jumped. I think he was supposed to be like pretty low. Imagine it. And then he jumped all the way to
10, and he
mid.
jumped up to 7. And I was 11th and dropped down to 12th. So things are trending well. So as much as ESPN doesn't know,
yeah,
they get some things right.
They do get some.
Like
yeah.
they knew I had a terrible team, and then this just solidifies it.
Yeah.
So
I just thought I wanted to show that because I don't.
Yeah. Well, we had quite if you look, the 1, 2, and the projections that ESPN had to start the season off, Junior and Brennan and Josh.
Yeah.
Those guys dropped from 1 to 5, from 2 to 8, and from 3 to 9. So based on the draft, ESPN didn't know what they were talking about.
No, they didn't. And so it's always interesting. Every year I think I tell myself that I'm going to look at the projections and keep track of them, and then
see how much they move.
Yeah, see how not just wins and losses, but points, and see whether how close they are, because I got a feeling that they're not right, because it.
Yeah. Well.
And yet,
they
when we look at the numbers,
they looked at playing this week and
I don't
thought,
know if you do this. How often do you look at their projection on a player, and that's how you decide whether to start him or over somebody else? We all do it, and yet we know they're wrong. Why do we do that?
I don't know. So, all right. So our second matchup is Rennie and Brian, and Rennie came off a great game. He did well, and he's projected to outscore Brian. I haven't looked at Brian's lineup. Maybe he's got some spots to fill. But man, Brian's going to hold his own, so that'll be a difficult matchup.
The thing I pointed out about this is just man, you come off, you score a bunch of points, you think maybe this next week I'll get a cheap win, but you play another guy that scored 120 points,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So Aaron Rodgers comes off his worst game ever, and they're projecting him to score more points than Kyler. So, just you have to see how that goes.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think that Kyler won't put up a 40 spot 2 weeks in a row, but who knows, but.
Well, and probably got to think that Aaron won't put up a 4 spot. So
I'm pretty sure that's, I don't know, who he's, and I think whoever has, I can't remember who has Devontae Adams, but that guy's probably mad too, because he's probably going to get a lot of balls thrown his way in the end zone.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you got Ed and Travis, and right now it's pretty even. Again, some guys got some moves that they'll probably make, but that's a Tom Brady versus Russell Wilson matchup. So that should be fun. Those were two high score. Russell didn't even play the second half, I don't think. That game was over.
And Travis's was pretty balanced. So even if his guys fluctuate a little bit, he's probably going to be, very, probably more likely to be around the same score than what, somebody that has these guys that blow up and then 3 spots that go 0, that's pretty volatile. But, who knows? Brady, you don't count the guy out.
Yeah. So, man, how bad would it be for Travis if Ed repeats what he did last week and Travis still scores well but goes 0-2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got to there's worse things than sitting there week 2 with 2 losses, but having 260 points or something,
You mean like having 2 losses and having I don't know, 110 points?
It makes it really tough to get to that 8th spot when you don't have any points at the end of the season.
Then we got Adam versus Lee, and so a 1-0 team against an 0-1 team again. Adam's the big favorite here. Lee may have some holes to fill here, may make some adjustments, but that's Stafford versus Carr. We'll see how that goes, and
I thought Carr was a little rusty the first half. And maybe because he was throwing to my guy and he was throwing behind him a few times, but he threw him. I think he threw it to Waller. Let's see, I think 705 times. I think.
Did you hear Peyton talking about targets?
Yeah.
Peyton was talking about Waller and targets. He goes, targets, what does that even mean? He was like, the ball wasn't even to him. He was like, it's uncatchable. He's like, why is he getting penalty for that?
But then they started getting a little better in the second half. Those crossing routes, he was leading him a little bit, but I needed him to find the end zone.
I think they had Waller triple team most of the game.
Yeah. But yeah, Carr looked. I mean, he came back when that last. He had hardly any time left, and they get down and kick a field goal. That was amazing.
Yeah. So then we've got Kenny Jr. off all weekend versus Danny. That's Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. That's must-see TV.
Yeah. That's I don't know what Lamar just needs to calm down a little bit. He needs to complete some passes before he takes off running. But I know at the end of the game there he was desperate trying to get down the field. But I think he'll find his way, and he stumbles into 20. You wouldn't go him away from that game thinking that he had a great game, but he still scored 20 because he ran.
Man, I mean, with if Harris can have a bounce back game for Danny, and if Mahomes is Mahomes, and then you got Montgomery, I mean, you got to think that you got to like those chances. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening, but that'll be
what's happening. Junior's going 0-2 is what's happening.
Well, he's projected to win, but I think that some of those guys that they underestimate him. I mean, Mahomes can have 25 points like falling out of bed.
Yeah.
So that'll be, and then we've got the battle of the brothers. We've got Josh and Brennan at the end.
Do you think Josh has been on his page yet? Has he even looked at it?
I think that Brennan's probably running both of them.
I'm wondering.
We'll see. Yeah, if
Brennan has pointed out, how long can you roll with Mahomes when you don't even have him on your team? It's a little difficult.
Yeah. Well, he's that kind of happy about Danny. He jumped on that Danny bandwagon.
Okay.
So he's just rooting for, it's like the feel-good story. It's like, man, if I can't win, might as well root for Danny to win.
Like, didn't you change your team name a few times to revolve around Russell or Cooking or something like that? Like, what if, it'd be like you changing it now to Russell
Yeah, so I changed it away from the Russell. Last year when I tried swapping it up, it didn't work for me, so. Like he had a bad game. I should have left it alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it was like Dangerous at first, and then I switched to Let Russ Cook, and then he had like 14 interceptions in that game. So,
Josh, if you're listening,
Josh,
come up with
it. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, man, that's
ready. Can you believe week 2 is almost upon us? Like
week
starts
2
tomorrow.
Is almost upon. I don't even know who's the Thursday night game.
Off the top of my head, I don't know either. How bad are we? Eli and Peyton wouldn't do this. They would know.
No,
they have writers though. We don't have writers.
We don't have writers. You would think that it would show up here that I could find out. So.
Redskins.
Oh, the voice from above.
Yeah, Redskins and Raiders.
Raiders have to play already.
Washington. Would that be right?
That can't be right.
Katie, that can't be right. You can't play Monday night and Thursday night.
Is it Cleveland?
Washington. Washington, New York. Sorry.
Washington and the Giants.
Yeah, it's your boy Barkley might not play because he short week. Yeah, that's you better pay attention.
Yeah,
he's a little banged up.
Saquon. Saquon,
he could still work out for you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't leave Sunday wishing I would have taken Dalvin Cook, even though he did better than Saquon.
He scored a lot of points compared to Saquon.
How many did he end up with? 14. Yeah, I mean,
Bengals.
Yeah. So
and Kamara had more than that. Now Henry, but no, he was off the board. You didn't have a chance to get Henry. Junior already took him, and it didn't pan out. He only had a few, but
Yeah. How did McCaffrey turn?
Well, he scored. He got a lot of fantasy points. He somehow got like third highest running back total without scoring a touchdown because he got a lot of receiving yards. So
yeah,
a touchdown would have. If he did get a touchdown, I would have won. But
Nope. Nobody's wishing they had Zeke last week.
No, nobody.
My only point: some of these guys did fine, but that there was plenty of disappointment to go around for running backs.
Yeah, So, but a lot of receivers, especially some third and fourth guys that blew up. So we'll keep an eye out on those guys.
Like a team like Arizona, there's so many weapons, and he throws the ball so much. Like, it's not like Hopkins is the only person getting the ball. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many different guys that can hurt you. I mean, AJ caught a couple passes. He'll probably end up scoring at some time during the season, but it'd be so risky to play some of those guys because you never know who's going to get the points what week.
My our Purdue fan guys, the Moore for Arizona, he caught a few passes, Rondell Moore, but he didn't score. Like they all went to Kirk and Hopkins, pretty much. So, but.
All right. Well, we're gonna sign off. Game start tomorrow. Good luck, Danny, at the waiver boards.
Did you hear it all? Are they gonna do the Peyton and Eli thing more? Because
no, they signed a 10-week contract.
Okay. For every Sunday night game?
10 games. Then
or Monday night game?
I don't know what games they're doing. They are doing it next week. I don't know if it's just the first 10 games and then they stop or what it is, but
I kind of feel bad for the regular announcers because nobody's going to watch them after this. That was awesome.
But,
yes, I mean Barkley being on there. I mean, all
Katie
that.
wanted me to turn it off. She couldn't stand it.
Who?
So Katie, she wanted me to turn it off. She didn't like listening to him talk. She wanted to listen to the regular announcers. So, but it is, if you're not, it's a lot of information. If you're just trying to like follow along with what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they did talk.
That's talk. Even like Rich Eisen and some of those guys were talking like that. You have to kind of like catch up to it. You know what I mean? Like it's, and they struggled like we would doing this, like talking over each other or, like Peyton talked over Russell a few times. They were talking about, but it was.
You know what they didn't do that Al Michaels did is point out the wrong wife of Matthew Stafford.
Yes. Well, he's had so many, so.
Stafford has?
No, I don't.
I mean, she was blonde.
That's Jay Cutler.
Yeah. But so poor Al Michaels.
Yeah, poor Al. So,
but we better get off because we're probably we're dragging on and all that kind of stuff. But
I was just gonna say nobody misinterpreted. Like they knew who Russell Wilson's wife was.
Yeah, I think they. She was at the Met Gala.
Yeah.
You were there, right?
I was there. I took the photo.
Hey, and you can tell I'm wearing a not a dress.
Yeah.
I put it out there, but it didn't happen. Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, the running back. So I don't know. I probably won't do that every week because it's a little risky. Nobody wants to see me in a dress except Adam.
Yeah. So, all right, my man. Well, you have a good night, and we'll see everybody later. All right.